Good afternoon, everybody. We are back. It's the right side of campus. We're live Friday, September 15th. It's Donnie, a football Friday. We've coined that term. We're talking football. We've done it all week, but we commenced today, Friday, the big day. A lot going on tonight, a lot went on last night, and a lot going on this weekend. You know, Donnie, I was thinking about this last night, and I always look forward to it. It's like when Wednesday, Thursday comes around, you think to that Saturday night, and, you know, all day Sunday you got football. It's just great, isn't it? There's just not, you know, basketball is awesome. I love college basketball, as many know, but it starts to get every night. So it's not as, you almost look forward to football. You're not garnered. And that's almost why, like last night, it doesn't bother me that the two games weren't good, because I just look forward to tonight and tomorrow and Sunday even more.
Yeah, just that little appetizer last night. I mean, if you're usually like a nice, shrimp cocktail, you want some mozzarella sticks, you want some wings as an appetizer. Last night they gave you dog food in the NFL, one of the more disgraceful football games I've watched over the years. Two pathetic offensive units, two awful quarterbacks, set the game back like 40 years. I mean, we all watched it because it's football. Deshaun Watson, absolutely pathetic. Andy Dalton, pathetic. Unbelievable that that's a professional product that they just ran out there for a Thursday night game, Jeff.
Yeah, you know, and look, I'm going to come out and say it. I didn't spend too much time watching, but I will say this. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, really? I mean, this is what you have in the NFL anymore in these big-time games. Not big-time games, but Thursday night games. Bad football. It's, you know, and I've mentioned to you, and I think you've mentioned it to people in general, I'm not sure what the NFL expects. I mean, it just – and I'm sure you'll get into it. And before we get into it, because I know we're going to go on a tangent here, welcome into everyone. Yeah, I do want to shout out that guy that called us all fucking idiots yesterday for taking New Mexico. I'm sure the
back door was wide open in that one. He should have closed. He should have locked the door, Jeff, before he left the chat box.
Should have. He didn't. He might check in with us. He might not. Usually those people don't check in with us. We hope he does, because he was pretty nice after the fact. He called us idiots, but hey, sometimes we're idiots, Donnie. And he had a point to make. But say hello, welcome in, hit the like button. Hashtag Football Friday. That's what we're doing here today on SBR Forum and SBR Picks. What's up, Emza? Welcome. Welcome all you guys. James, Etienne, Vitalis, Giorgio, Kevin, Pro Gamer, Brooke, Jordan, Tony, iRetro, Jay, Low Hanging Fruit. Low Hanging Fruit. Who's that? Low Hanging Fruit. All right. I guess he's stealing Peter Loshak's thing. John Mashad. John Mashad was in Gabe's chat last night, Donnie, saying some interesting things. I heard him calling people names in there. I don't know what that was all about.
Chat box in here.
Yeah, that was a hefty chat box in there. Etienne's in Columbia. Awesome. Good stuff. Awesome. Very nice. Etienne Monroe is a legend in my eyes.
Now, is Etienne in Columbia, or is we in Columbia, South Carolina, getting ready for the Gamecocks? Which Columbia are we in here?
He's in Columbia, the country. I've talked to him before. And Donnie, I'll tell you after the show why he's a legend, but he is in my eyes. And if you're a legend in my eyes, you're a legend. Tony Goodrich. What's up? Yeah, by the way, just a quick news and note to any listener out there. I've learned from in the past with listeners and how they are and how I was in the past, and I know how Donnie was probably as well. When you're drunk, you probably don't want to go on a public forum and start talking, because I've witnessed a couple people in the last couple nights that have come on the chat and have said some stupid things, and even Ian Cameron's blocking people. So, you know, maybe not a good idea. And then the next day it's I'm drunk and I couldn't remember what I said. We know that doesn't mix. I wouldn't come on the chat. No, that's just my advice. But hey, what do I know? But yes, last night, Donnie, the football game that we had, you would agree, and you've made this point before, that body-wise, it just doesn't make sense. You need time to rejuvenate, and it's a long season and a taxing season. And I know everyone has to do it, but this has never been a good idea. I don't know why they continue to think it's going to, and that the team – I mean, we could see last night that probably wasn't going to be a good football game.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's all about revenue. It's all about making that money. If you tell an NFL player that you're going to get a lot of concussions, you're going to get CTE, you're going to have to play on Thursday night, but you know what? I'm going to bump your pay. They will all sign up in a second to do it. That's why there's a Thursday night football game. Nobody likes the game except the NFL and its players because it fills up their pocket. It's an awful, and again, Jeff, it goes back to the preseason. Nobody plays in the preseason. So now you go balls to the wall week 1, and then you got to go 4 days later to play another football game where you're not even used to even like being in the season yet because you just had your first full game. Not, hey, maybe, Jeff, if they played full game preseason 1, 2, 3, and 4, opening week would be fantastic. Week 2 wouldn't be so bad, but they don't do that anymore. And to set these two teams up, I knew what I was getting coming into the game from Deshaun Watson. A green quarterback, first road start, not a lot of time to prepare, going to lean on his athletic ability. He was atrocious in that football game. The best part about this, Jeff, let's just say, if you took Deshaun Watson out of this game, you started Tom Savage, they would have blown Cleveland off of the field. Case in point, opposite side. If Deshaun Watson starts on one side of the football and you go back up with A.J. McCarron, the Cincinnati Bengals would have blown Texas off of the football field. These two quarterbacks combined last night was the single worst football game played between two quarterbacks that I've ever watched in the NFL. Deshaun Watson was completely unprepared. The rush came in. He had one play that it was like Madden and ran on like a 3rd and 19 from midfield and scored a touchdown, but he had no idea how to read a defense. Andy Dalton could have hit the broadside of a barn in that football game. And Jeff, last night, case in point, the Houston Texans had both of their starting quarterbacks out in the cornerbacks out in the second half. Andy Dalton wasn't smart enough to say, you know what, A.J. Green might be the best wideout in football. I'm not going to get him the football. Overthrowing every pass, making terrible decision after terrible decision. It was baffling to watch an NFL product last night.
Yeah, and again, we can all continue to make this point. It's rare that these games are ever any good. Honestly. Donnie, out of the games last year, can you remember a good Thursday night game? The one that you had to watch and had to be there for, and they were awesome, and they really won you over? Were there many?
No, there's not. But it's just, I never seen a confluence of two quarterbacks and two coaching staffs get together with complete ineptability that there was last night. It was just absolutely, like the last play of the game was just, the ultimate, say Andy Dalton, here we go. It's going to be 4th and 8 after you had a false start on 4th and 3. So automatically you knock yourself back, probably out of range. But Andy Dalton rolls out, and whether or not the defender held on, because he did held on to the wide receiver on the out pattern. But Andy Dalton's pass was so freaking bad that I was so happy they didn't call a penalty because he didn't even deserve it. Like the last two passes of the game were atrocious. He rolls out right, throws the ball out of bounds, and Gio Bernard has his hands up, gasping like, "Dude, just flip it over the middle. I got some yards." Then he takes it to the left side and throws the ball 15 yards over a guy's head. Just embarrassing style football. Embarrassing.
And it's amazing because you look at they have skill players. They have on paper a decent run game. You have A.J. Green, who's one of the better receivers. But again, it all goes back, Donnie, to Marvin Lewis. Fire the man and move on. It's like I'm watching The Wire over again, and you continue to allow Irvin Burrell to be your police commissioner, and it just continues to be bad. And eventually someone just says, fire the man and move on. They do it. And again, it's still the same old stuff, but you get a change in there. It's time to move on from Marvin Lewis. It hasn't worked. He's never done anything worth a goddamn. Move on already.
Yeah, betting and moving forward with both of these football teams. The team that won last night, to me, Jeff, we'll see what Jacksonville does. I don't expect Jacksonville to do that much, in their season. To me, it was the Tennessee Titans because Houston was going to be your biggest competition to winning that division before the season started. That's an atrocious football team. And I don't even know how it gets any better for the Texans. But to me, if I didn't even check, can you get like a live number now that Tennessee's 0-1 and Houston won a game, what that number would be? Houston has 0 shot at the division. Indianapolis has 0 shot at that division. We'll see what Jacksonville does. I still think Jacksonville's, a 5-6 win football team. Tennessee's going to cruise and win that division with ease. Ease, Jeff.
I agree. And, Donnie, you look, again, let's just make this clear. Okay, we could talk about Pagano. We did yesterday. At least Chuck Pagano has won playoff games. Okay, he's done something. Marvin Lewis has never won a playoff game ever. In 14 years, he has never won anything. How long are we going to be mediocre? And this goes back to the organization as a whole.
Wait, didn't they beat Houston on the road one year?
No,
they
have never
that game.
They have never won in the playoffs.
Yep.
And let me make this clear. All of those playoff games were wild card games. They weren't even they haven't even gotten there. Barely. They barely got
a lot of those games, they were abysmal in those football games too.
Come on with this. I mean, you're either a good organization like the Patriots and those kind of things, or you're a bad one. And the bad ones are usually guys that will not take authority over their football team and say, enough is enough. It's time to move on and get something else in here. But that's the Cincinnati Bengals, a loser group and a loser organization.
Yeah, no, I mean, looking at betting going forward, I mean, it's hard to predict the first couple weeks. I retweeted somebody's tweet that said, NFL teams expect this. The first 2 games of the regular season are basically real preseason football games. Can't wait for next week because now you got a good feel. Now you straight up know the Texans suck. There's no getting around it.
Right.
You straight up know Cincinnati sucks. There's no getting around it. So now you can get that good feel back in the games. And hey, Houston, hey, what a win. And if you watch Michael Irvin last night, that's why you got Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was a joke last night. Embarrassing. Yeah. And you know what's going to happen in a week and a half, Jeff? We'll see what happens down in the Dome this weekend when New England goes after New Orleans. And probably is going to pick up a win. They're going to go back home angry in a home game. They're going to get Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is just I don't know. I actually think you should honestly go. I completely reversed my role. You got to put Tom Savage out there. He's not ready to play football yet.
And you know what? Remember, you got the quarterback whisperer, Bill O'Brien, who will get him ready. I mean, we know how good he is at creating, good quarterbacks. He's been so good, in Houston. I will say I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think the Titans are a talented football team. I think they're just better than every other team in this division. Yeah. The Colts suck, which we know. The Texans, I think defensively the Texans are pretty decent, but they can't move they're going to be a good under team.
What does it come down to? Like, if you're looking right now to handicap this race, Deshaun Watson, who sucks, Andrew Luck's backup, whoever he is, sucks, and Blake Bortles. It's unbelievable. Like, you're literally saying to Tennessee Titans, this is almost has that AFC East feel where the Patriots just get a bye right into the playoffs. They're going to win this division easily.
And that's the difference between them. You look at all 3 teams other than Tennessee. Jacksonville has Blake Bortles and Chad Henne.
Mm-hmm.
Houston's got Tom Savage and Deshaun Watson, who Watson's shown that he's not really ready to play at this level.
He's not ready.
And the Colts have Andrew Luck, who knows when he'll be back. And
Jeff, do you bring Andrew? Let's just say Andrew Luck is having shoulder problems. You're 0-7. Do you bring him back? What the hell do you bring him back for?
And even with him, their defense is so bad that it doesn't matter if you bring him back.
Yeah.
The problem you have with Jacksonville, who, look, I'll admit, I mean, I think they're a decent team. They're not going to win anything.
No, you lost your top wideout now. Now you have nothing at wide receiver.
You're starting
wide receiver. An injury. Yeah, an injury. Like, Jeff, look at their running back right now. Fournette looks great. He'll be you going to run 26 times a game? Yeah, exactly. 3 games, he's out too. Congratulations.
Right. And look, I'll admit, I think defensively they're going to be pretty decent. But again, they're a lot like Houston. I think they're going to struggle to move the football consistently. And we can talk about last week, but you were gifted a ton of turnovers. You didn't move the ball through the air really at all, did Jacksonville. They didn't. I don't think it was anything their offense did. Their defense played well. Yeah. They were put in really good positions. And they won the game. I don't look at last week's win against Houston and say, wow, Jacksonville's offense played really well. Blake Bortles, he just didn't fuck up. That's why we didn't talk about it, because he didn't do anything stupid. But mostly he does. So overall, for me, I agree. I think Tennessee's, really kind of the pick of the litter. And it's crazy because they lost in week 1. That's what's so crazy about it. But this division is just so poor that I think right now, even looking at it, Tennessee has, they have Mariota, which
even if Tennessee goes down to Jacksonville and loses this game and goes to 0-2, that division is so awful that I don't even think it matters. Is 8 or 9? I guess maybe 8 wins will probably win this division now. Because I mean, Indianapolis isn't getting to 8. No way in hell Jacksonville's getting to 8 wins. I don't care if Jacksonville's opens up 2-0. They're not getting to 8 wins. And Houston. Good luck with that.
Right. And the thing about this schedule for the AFC South, I don't know how many people know this, but they have the easiest schedules. You look at Indianapolis; they have the easiest schedule in football. I believe, if I'm correct. The Tennessee Titans have the second easiest. Jacksonville is the third easiest. So most of these teams, yeah, again though, but I think it's 8. I think it's 8 wins for the winner here. But I'd be real surprised if it's not Tennessee. They just look better on paper. But as we know, NFL's crazy. What looks like on paper doesn't usually come to fruition. Big man, your fade is pitching today, but he might keep the winning streak alive. Bauer. Yeah, how about that last night, Donnie? We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Cleveland. What's it going to take for this team to lose? I mean, the last night they struggled to put runs up on the board, but then that 9th inning came with 2 outs, and there they are. Francisco Lindor, a big hit, tie the game up and win it in the I think the 10th. I got to tell you, I mean, I'm not racing to the window to bet on Jason Vargas today. I don't think he's a guy that's going to top the streak. He's really struggled in the second half of the season. Regression has clearly hit Vargas. And Bauer, well, for as much as we've vilified him, in his career, he hasn't been very good. He's had trouble with walks. But Donnie, I mean, he's been pretty damn good lately.
No, he has. I'm just having a lot of fun watching because obviously I had my eye on the football game, both football games last night. But you get those updates, single to lead off the 9th. I tuned into that, had a lot of fun watching it. Lindor, just money player with the double off the wall. They win it. And I'm rooting for it, man. I want to see him get, 25, 26, 27 in a row. I mean, they can do it. What's the let me check to see if I can get a line on that game. Yeah, I mean, Bauer laying 195, 206. Last night, the line crashed about 30, 40 points because everybody just saying, how much longer can it go? Well, I mean, hey, it went 22 already. So what the hell's the difference between 22 and 23?
Yeah, and as far as admitting I was wrong on Bauer, let's pump the brakes a little bit. He's not good. I mean, he's had a good second half, but I mean, look, everyone's
is he a free agent? Is he a free agent? We're going to give him 5 years, $140 million.
I'm not running as an owner to the door to say we got to break down and get that guy.
Every single team probably has 2 Trevor Bauers on it. So
right. He's a 4-starter. That's what he is.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong on him. He's been good in the second half. Congratulations. Jason Vargas was great in the first half. Look at him.
Yeah, sure.
He sucked. I mean, overall, career ERA of 4.4. Not running. He's a 4-starter. That's what he is. Second half, he's been very good, though. I'll admit it. Okay, listen. I mean, if run to the door and get him then. If you like Trevor Bauer, go bet him tonight.
I would bet him tonight just because I wouldn't stand in front of that train, man.
And he's been good. I agree. Yeah. I'd jump and bet him too.
Yeah, me too.
Donnie, you'll discuss that tonight on the closing line. Should be fun, going for 23 straight. And Donnie, they could hit it this weekend. I think it would hit it. No, it might be Monday.
Yep.
They got Kansas.
26? No, they got to win 27. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, so it'd be next week. Then they get the Angels on deck. So could very well hit it, Donnie. You excited for that?
Yeah, I'll be definitely on Saturday and Sunday. Major League Baseball, Jeff, front and center with me. Trust me.
Yeah, I think we're all clamoring and ready. But at least it's keeping baseball relevant for some people.
It is. It is. Yeah.
It's like the one thing right now. Baseball.
Either that or Reese Hoskins is keeping baseball afloat at this point.
And Donnie, listen. I mean, I remember back for the most part back a while ago. I mean. How long have we been mentioning to bring these fucking kids up? I mean, Philly's organization looking real stupid right now, aren't they?
Yep. I mean, they have kids that absolutely coming up raking right now across. And if we can go back, Jeff, and go in those late March, early April, mid-April, late April, where I just went on rants and, hey, if I'm the Phillies GM, I like to go back and say, hey, look, I'm the Phillies GM. Reese Hoskins, he's not ready. Sir, he hit over 50 home runs in his last whatever games. Yeah, but I mean, we don't want to rush the kid up. So you finally bring him up and he breaks an all-time 130-year record and is destroying it nightly. If you're a GM of the Philadelphia Phillies, or if you own the Phillies, you knock on your GM's door politely and say, I don't even want to curse here, get the what out. Just pack your stuff and get out. It's over. Your reign here is over. You had a kid that, Jeff, let's just say they brought him up day 1, April 1st. Home runs, 50. Maybe he's going head to head right now with Giancarlo Stanton for the home run all-time record. Nope. I
mean, he's hitting the home run on 15% of his at-bats. 37 hits.
Doesn't strike out a lot, hitting over. And Jeff, he started 0 for 12 when he came up, and his batting average is over 300. It's amazing, man. And again, it just, we could go on and on. It's not baseball season to me anymore. But the Phillies as an overall organization, and everybody thought I was fun. Like, oh, you don't know that. The AAA team that was assembled in May, and I said it all along, would have kicked the shit out of the Phillies Major League Ball Club, and it's absolutely true.
But hey, let's keep Scott Kingery. Let's keep Dylan Cousins. Let's keep Roman Quinn down at AAA. And
yeah, that's the next one, Jeff. Kingery's not even – you see Kingery, who might be the best prospect that's still left down in the minors. They're not bringing him up because they're so cheap that if they bring him up in September, they will have to Rule 5 him next year, which means you have to have him on your ball club. Who the hell doesn't want a guy that's going to hit 300 with 30 bombs on your ball club next year? Let's not even worry about protecting him so we can get that extra year, and we'll bring him up like next July when he's not a Super 2 free agent and loses that entire year instead of helping your ball club. Fantastic.
Question is, Ryan or Donnie.
Yes.
Will he be
Jeff, how many people are watching the show right now? How many?
320. Wow. I don't know.
There we go.
What the hell's going
Phillies
on?
talk. As soon as we said Phillies,
yeah,
people got in.
Yeah, how about that? But the question I have for you, Donnie, is he Dom Brown? Yeah. That's always the concern.
No, he's not. Don Brown was a flash in the pan. I just got hot for 1 month, and I stink.
Right now, I mean.
No, but he's not. Yeah, but he had a track record coming up through the minor league system. Don Brown was just down there saying, hey, look, I'm really fast, and I hit a few home runs.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be fun, but you got to keep it up. You got to keep bringing these kids up, get them some playing time, and Donnie, the question for you in the chat, I'll let you answer this, and then I'll finish it up for you. What are your thoughts on teasers for NFL and college football, says Nick T?
I mean, if you're going to do teasers, I don't agree with them, but if you're going to have fun with them, at least keep it to the NFL and don't tease totals at any time. If you want to take two teams in the NFL, because if you see the point spreads, Jeff, they're all low. 90% of them are within 10 points, and we see the statistics every year that says games that end from 7 points or less. If you take a team that's getting 7.5, you take it to 13.5, or you tease it down to 1. I can live with that. But if you're going to start teasing, past 0, if you're going to start teasing college football, and my favorite of all, Jeff, is teasing down a college football total higher or lower, that's when it just gets extreme. But if you're going to do a teaser, just please keep it in the NFL and please keep it to a side and don't tease past 0, you idiots.
Yeah, teasing past 0 is a no-no, but we've all done it in the past. I've definitely teased totals. I've teased everything. But as you get older and you get wiser, you start to not do those things. And yes, I can't say I don't not tease NFL sides, but teasing totals and teasing college, random. It's all about key numbers: 3, 7, 10, 14, those kind of things. Deb Stern in here, welcome in. We haven't seen her.
Jeff, yeah, I just put that out in the chat box. Like, you would rip that and say somebody's faking that.
No, it's definitely her. I talked to Deb. I know her picture. That's definitely her. I don't know.
425, Jeff. Can we get to 1,000 live in here? Can we? Get to
I don't know if
live?
it had to do with Deb joining us. I mean,
Maybe.
she's a beautiful woman. I don't know. Maybe that had something to do with it. I'm not sure, but we're glad she's in here. Mr. Say-10 only teases soccer. Good point.
That is a good one. Yes. Now, can you buy goals in soccer, Jeff? Like buy it from 2.5 to 3.5?
Well, actually,
what do you have to do? Pay like $500 to buy a half a goal?
No, actually, you have something called the Asian Handicap, which they give you even quarter lines. So you can bet 2.25, you can bet -2.5, you can bet -3. It just goes up, and obviously the odds. So it doesn't cost that much. I mean, it's usually about a dollar difference usually. But yeah, again, teasing soccer might really help a lot of people. Teasing gold.
Yeah, people chomping at the bit tonight for college football with Temple, by the way. Are you excited for that one?
Yes, I'm excited for all 3 of these games, and I'm looking forward to getting into them. It is Football Friday, and I'm looking forward to it. By the way, Donnie, injury note, Donnell Pumphrey out for a long period of time due to a hamstring injury.
Kind of mysterious, Jeff, that he hurt himself in practice so severely, quote unquote. So,
well, that looks like to me, hey, we don't really want you on this football team, so hey, go ahead on IR for a while and get stronger in the weight room.
Get stronger, get in your playbook, and we'll see you next year, which is what they should have did outside of training camp anyway. There's no reason for an Eagles team that doesn't like to run the football to have 5 active running backs. That's absolutely ludicrous. So IR him, bring in somebody else, and we'll see what happens.
Johnny McLaughlin, Belfast, Northern Ireland in here. Great. Keep up the good work. Awesome to have you, Johnny. Shout out to Celtic, my favorite soccer team, betting-wise. Thank you. welcome in, Johnny. Northern Ireland in here, Donnie. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, hey, they wanted. I mean, when you talk UMass Temple, Ireland's going to get involved. No question about that.
Sure. Yes, let's get into it, Donnie. It's Football
Yeah.
Friday. Let's jump in. And guys, also wanted to let everyone know if there's a game you want us to talk about, just wait till the end. We'll take like 15 minutes at the end to kind of rapid fire some of these college football games. Listen, there's so many, it's hard to get to them all. But let's jump into tonight and see where we're at. Everyone out there, like the show. If you're on here, hit the like button. Help us out. Do that for us. Donnie, let's start it out.
Let me tee it up for you here. Let's go. 7 o'clock tonight on the call, ESPN game, I believe, Massachusetts versus Temple, 105-106. Tickets in this game track so far, Jeff, 500, almost, let's say 5,200. Spread tickets going towards Temple at 66% here. Jeff Pinnacle opened up at 12, now sits at 15. Chris opened up at 14, now sitting at 15. Over under sitting pretty much across the board at 52. Sportsbook.com showing 52.5 in this one. The one thing tough for me, Jeff, I don't know which tempo I'm going to get tonight. Are they going to kick it into gear? Are they going to show me some offense tonight? The one thing to me I know, Jeff, about UMass, I don't know if they can kick it in the gear.
Yeah, I could see where you say that. I mean, I will point this out, though. They've been fairly competitive in all three of their games. Keep in mind, Temple's not what they were last year. They're not the team of 2 years ago. They're a real building team that's kind of trying to get through a coaching change, get through a quarterback change, get through losing Jahad Thomas. And losing Jahad Thomas has hurt this team. Their run game is not kicked it into gear whatsoever. Rockwell Armstead has really had trouble. This team has had trouble moving the football on the ground, and I think that's where they're going to win this game tonight. They got to have a better run game here. As far as the Temple Owls, I mean, look, week one, I don't think losing to Notre Dame is any big thing. I mean, Notre Dame is a good football team. They're going to be pretty relevant all year. And I also don't think losing to Villanova, or we beating Villanova by 3, was that big a deal. Last year, Villanova had the best defense in the country in FCS. They're a city rival. And Donnie, they're actually probably better than UMass, if you could believe that. I don't think UMass is a very good football team. However, I do think UMass, if I had to play this game, which I want to make this very clear, all 3 of these games, I'm probably not going to be playing. I just don't really have a feel on them. But I will say this. UMass has struggled on the ground. If Temple cannot run the football tonight, they have a problem going forward. In 3 games, UMass has given up 630 yards on the ground. They have to kick it into gear in front of the home fans tonight. Rockwell Armstead needs to show off a little bit. I'm just not sure, though, that I want to lay Temple 15 points to Temple. One thing UMass has shown this year, they've kept the games close. They've kept it tight. And Logan Marchie, I'm not sure that I want to worry that he is going to go and cover a number for me. For me, at 15, I would lean with the Minutemen here. I think at this point, Mark Whipple could be on his way out. I think they're pretty desperate at this point. And I'm not sure Temple's ready to lay this kind of number. At 9, I might consider it, but they basically have to win by 17 or more. I don't see it. I just don't. It could very well happen, but I want to think that UMass is going to keep it close here. I just don't think Temple's a team that really has blow-up potential right now.
No, I would agree with you there, Jeff, looking at Temple. I don't know what I'm going to get out of these teams. I don't know. Put it this way, Jeff. UMass, if we're looking at this game here, 15, 14, Temple's going to have to cover by 2 touchdowns to get that, money in your pocket. Can UMass, Jeff, versus Temple get to 17 points here? You think they can?
Can UMass? Yeah, I do. I definitely do.
Yeah.
Here's where UMass is going to keep this game close. The problem that Temple has is their pass defense up to where it should be? They maintained most of those guys from last year. Guys like Sean Chandler out of Camden, who really worked hard to become a really good football player on this team. But I worry about their pass defense tonight because Andrew Ford, Brenneman, Pete Isabella, they have a pretty good receiving core, and they can move the football through the air. I just think the Temple, there's just going to be too much, too many things here that I just not sure they're ready to lay a number like this. I think they'll win, surely. But I mean, Donnie, would you be surprised at all if this is a close game? This is what happens when you have a new football team, a new coach going through the growing pains, and they're not going to have a big home advantage here tonight. If anyone knows, I mean, the link on Friday nights with college football is not exactly, high level atmosphere. So for me, I would take the points here with UMass.
By the way, Jeff, we have over 1,100 people watching
Yeah,
at this point. I do want to let the people, Jeff, I want to let the people know out there, I actually just bought yesterday 1,100 separate laptops I've connected in my back room. So,
yeah, I'm actually paying
so
400 people to get on the air right now.
yeah.
So that's obviously helping as well. But as far as overall, hey, awesome. I'm glad to have people here. If we have new people or whatever, or this is just a glitch, I don't know. But hey, Donnie.
I think it was two trigger works, Jeff. We started talking Phillies baseball and Temple football, and it skyrocketed. So
the
welcome
Philadelphia
to the audience. Yeah.
The good people down in South Philadelphia. I get every fucking person on Jessup Street from 2400 up to 2900. The whole every block's listening. They got the big man on campus rolling. They're sitting on the stoops, eating water ice, listening to the show. Welcome in everyone out there.
Yeah,
shout out
we get 100,000 live viewers. That's the goal. 100,000.
Well, you know what, Donnie? I've done shows for 5 people. I've done shows for 3 people when I first started out doing a podcast, and I'm cool with doing it for 1 million. I don't care who's listening. I love spreading the word, the gospel word, the good word. The hood's watching, streets are watching, Donnie. Let's jump into the next one.
No, let's do it. Let's see. College football on the docket once again tonight, if you're just tuning in here. Illinois and South Florida, Jeff, 107, 108, 7,200 tickets have been tracked. 60%, Jeff, actually leaning here spread-wise, going with Illinois. Opened up at 52 as a total, now sits at 55, so some action pushing that higher. But the line itself, Jeff, opened up at 17 at Pinnacle, currently sitting at 17. Chris at 16.5. 5 Dime 17, Sportsbook 17. So you're going to be laying a decent number with South Florida post-hurricane. And again, Jeff, South Florida, not very impressive to me to start the season off. Can they carry this number over a Big Ten team here?
Yeah, it's funny question there on the chat, Ryan, or Donnie. What is water ice? Says Mario Martinez. Basically, what it is.
First of all, it's WOOTER.
Water ice, water ice. Water ice is a little. It's just water and ice.
Basically. What do they call it out west? It would be shaved ice or snow cone? I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's a snow cone, but it's basically flavored water freezed, basically. But it's very flavorful. You know, they're all different sites of flavors. One of a good family friend of ours, Donnie, is a big. He sells water ice down the shore. And I remember growing up, we would always get big tubs of it. Water ice is good stuff. Nothing better. But yeah, Donnie, in this game. A lot of moving parts here. You definitely want to do your homework on this football game, USF and Illinois. They're off a week where they didn't play USF. And as I do, because I'm the big man on campus, I got the big scoop, Donnie, on South Florida football. I started practicing on Tuesday, which I think around those parts was good for them. They needed a week off. Augie Sanchez, the linebacker, actually said that they didn't think it was that big a deal because they needed the time to kind of get relaxed and get rejuvenated. They didn't play well against Stony Brook. No one will come out and say that they didn't. They were bad. They couldn't move the football. Quentin Flowers was just trying to do too much. But now everything is passed. The hurricane has moved. Most of the family members of the football teams are safe and good, and everyone's back at campus. So they've actually had a pretty solid week here in practice. Illinois, they're going to have to be prepared for, Donnie, because Illinois was very good last week against West Kentucky. They held the big Hilltopper offense to 7 points. And even without Braum, which I think that had a lot to do with, even without Braum, Donnie, you would agree, that's pretty impressive because Mike White is a good quarterback. You would agree, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Overall, people will point to the limited rust and that kind of thing, and you might have something. But, Donnie, I want to point this out. This is a big thing in this football game. There are no high school games in the state of Florida this weekend. And from what I understand, Charlie Strong has actually invited all the football programs in the area, and it's going to be pretty much South Florida tonight at Raymond James. That's all that's going on. There's no high school football tonight. And, look, I'm a big emotional guy in college. I think there's a lot of good things about that in certain situations because these are kids at the end of the day. You also look at the 106 football players for South Florida, Donnie. Take a guess at how many are actually from Florida.
From 106 players on the roster?
106 players on the roster. Take a guess at how many are from Florida.
I would probably say 80.
97.
Yeah, sounds about
right.
That's
92% of the team is from Florida. They haven't played in a week. Look, you can lay it. You can take the points. For me, I'm going to lay it. I think South Florida really gets right in this game. I think that bye week was really one of the best things for them, confidence-wise. I think from what I've heard from this football team, what I've heard from Charlie Strong, I'm excited about this team tonight. I think they come out in front of basically the whole town and really show off. I like them tonight. I think Illinois, one thing we had to point out, Illinois right now, offensively, they are non-existent. They cannot move the football. Chase Crouch has had a lot of trouble moving the ball, only a 52% completion percentage. They might play in this game and play well defensively, but I just don't think they can move the football. For me, I think South Florida gets the job done tonight against a fun, lively crowd down at Raymond James. I'm going to lay the points here. I think this is a 38-17 type of game. Again, keep in mind, they're not distracted anymore, okay? Everyone's okay. The storm's passed. If you had told me, Donnie, they had to play last week, you would have been dead on the money. They're very distracted. But from what I've heard from the program, everyone's good to go. They're ready. Everyone's families are safe. It's time to move on. I'll lay it here with USF, Donnie.
Interesting. Next up on the card tonight, the final nightcap, which I hope you be in bed sleeping because I don't think this one's going to be a very exciting one to me. 109-110 Arizona and UTEP. Only about 2,600 tickets have been tracked to this one. 57% of those spread tickets, Jeff, on Arizona at this point opened up at 20. Pinnacle sitting at 23.5. Chris 23.5. Five Dimes 23.5. So it looks like it's settled on that number. Over under opened up at 60. Now down a little bit to 58.5, depending on what outlet you shop at. 58 at Bovada here. UTEP, I don't. That's the best word I can use for them. I don't know. Like, this is one of those really bad football teams. Now, I mean, they were bad. Now no starting quarterback. And Arizona didn't give me a lot to chew on in their last game versus Houston in this one. If Arizona is healthy, running backs are healthy, they should be able to just hand the football off every single play and come out with a victory here. How motivated is Arizona going to UTEP? Probably in a not exciting environment, stadium a quarter full. What gives you, Jeff?
Yeah, I think you actually be in a situation here, Donnie, where the Arizona fans may outnumber the UTEP fans in this game. Not a far trip, really. And from what Rich Rodriguez said, Donnie, they're actually driving to this game. They're not taking a plane.
I saw that. Yeah.
Is interesting. I don't know if that's more of a bonding experience for this team. I don't know. But I can make the case that they might be the worst team in the country, UTEP.
Yeah.
Not only do you get absolutely crushed against Oklahoma, which it makes sense, but I mean, you lose by 17 against Rice, a team that I think we all agreed after week one was a junior high team. I mean, they look terrible. UTEP is poor. I want to point out they're giving up 5.7 yards per carry. That's where I think Arizona is really going to have a lot of success tonight. Their quarterback, Brandon Dawkins, is a guy that kind of reminded you of Donnie, like Lamar Jordan last night, kind of in and out of the lineup. He struggles to move the football through the air, but he's got a good set of legs on him. He can move the football. I think he's going to be pretty dynamic tonight, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over. That was so frustrating about the game last week. Arizona played really well offensively. They had a blocked punt. They had a safety, Houston. Brandon Dawkins had a big interception. It's just things you can't do if you want to win football games against Houston. That's going to be a different story tonight against UTEP. First of all, their quarterback, Ryan Metz, is out. Now, their backup quarterback, Greenlee, did play last year. He's a Fresno State transfer. He did play last year. He didn't really play well, though. 3 interceptions. Did have 5 touchdowns. But, guys, the guy to look out for in this football game, J.J. Taylor. He's playing for a kid named Nick Wilson who's been injured. Donnie, J.J. Taylor, 5'6", 180. He's a speedster, this kid. He's a speedster. Watch his highlights. I think he's going to run all over UTEP tonight. Yeah, I'm not looking for it. I'm not getting anywhere near UTEP. I just don't see a capable way to back them. And I think another problem with UTEP also, to take some pressure off Greenlee, last year they had Aaron Jones, a very good running back. This year, Donnie, 99 rushing yards in 2 games. That's why they're a bad football team. They can't lean on a guy like Aaron Jones, who they've had over the last couple of years. And that's something I think New Mexico State's going to struggle with next year without Larry Rose. You have to have a dynamic running back if you don't have a quarterback. they don't have a quarterback, they have a backup in and no running game. I wouldn't be surprised to see another really good performance out of this Arizona defense. They were good last week. I think they're going to be good again this week. I wouldn't be surprised if UTEP got shut out here, but I would be very much interested in Arizona here. I could see a big performance tonight, kind of like the under as well, but I'm going to lay the number with Arizona. I think this team's going to be ready to go off a loss, a game they shouldn't have lost last week. Give me Arizona here.
Yeah, now that'll wrap up the Friday night football card. Not a lot to be desired there. Not a lot of explosion, I would say. I mean, South Florida, when they get going, obviously can be a very fun football team to watch. But UTEP, Arizona, UMass Temple. I mean, I hope maybe UMass Temple, Jeff, doesn't put us to sleep right off the bat, and we can at least make it to the Arizona UTEP game, right?
Yeah, one thing I do want to listen to is I listened to Rich Rod's presser after actually coming into this game here, but I want to get to know some of these players for Arizona and what their overall thinking pattern is in the season, because I think that's dynamic in this football game. Rich Rod, I would agree, you would agree, is probably on kind of a warm seat right now at Arizona.
Really hot seat.
Yeah. What is this traveling by bus? I mean, what is that? Why are you doing that? What's the overall thinking pattern? I think most of these kids are pumped up, but I want to know the actual thought pattern, because from what I heard of South Florida, it was really good. I didn't yet hear what Arizona's was, but I'm excited. It'll be a fun night nonetheless. For me, my leans, I'll go UMass plus 15. I'll go South Florida minus the 17. And I'll go Arizona minus 23.5. But to all the pinheads out there, they're just leans. I might play them small, but
I'm holding you to it. I'm going to hold you to it. I'm going to tweet live during these football games if you had it, or even if you didn't have the game. I'm going to live tweet against it.
That's fine.
Jeff, there's a rumor going around last week that you were high on ECU this year. Any truth?
Yeah, now the trolls are just making things up. I'm winning, so they have nothing to say, so they make things up. No, I've actually maintained many times that I think East Carolina could make the case they're the worst team in college football. I think Ruffin McNeil got a bad shot there, and I want to say this to the ECU team. This is how it goes. You gave him the door for no reason, and now you suck.
Yeah, and the whole point, Jeff, is at ECU, what is your gauge? Are the people in administration, are there boosters there that say, we need to improve? Like, we need to be good enough where we can get into a Power 5 conference and compete for a national title. Like, what is your MO at East Carolina? You should be just praying that you get to a bowl once every 3 years and live with that, right? What are we doing?
Let's remember, Ruffin McNeil brought in Shane Carden. He brought in Justin Hardy. He brought in Zay Jones. They won a couple bowl games in his tenure. I'm not sure as
competitive football, even the one year I believe they came right down to the wire versus Florida in a bowl game. You had a competitive football team
and they competed. They competed against South Carolina. They've competed against big football teams. And I remember that one, I believe it was the AAC championship game a couple years ago. It was a wild game against South Florida, and I think South Florida won on like a Hail Mary. I'm just not sure what you want from your coach. Ruffin McNeil is a good football coach. He brought in some really good players. I just don't know what exactly they think they're going to be. You're East Carolina. That's what you are. You're East Carolina. I just don't know that I understand it. But you know what? Ruffin McNeil is, now it's all lost, and now they gotta deal with that. But I think they deserve everything they get, because now East Carolina is bad, and I don't think you're going to get any better anytime soon. So, Donnie,
we got about 15 minutes left in the show here. Anybody out there in the chat box wants to go over a game maybe this Saturday, they have pointed out any, ways that you're leaning. So Big Man's going to be able to handle that. Also, if you're just tuning in, you want to talk a lot of college football, don't hesitate tomorrow at 11 a.m. I had Pistol Pete on the show last night for the closing line. Obviously, Jeff and I do the show each and every day throughout the week. Their bread and butter is coming up tomorrow at 11 a.m. So tune in 11 to 12. They're going to go over every game on the card you want, tips, whatever you're looking for, some good wagers on that. So definitely tune in tomorrow. Sportsbookreview.com on YouTube there, Jeff and Pistol Pete with the closing line.
Please do that. We always have fun. Peter and I, it's always good to do that. An hour before game time, you get a lot of interesting line moves. I get a lot of interesting numbers. So come and join us. For that. Donnie, they're coming in fast and furious here. Tennessee, Florida, Kyle Hamburg. Good
Interesting
game.
One. Yeah,
I actually went over that game on the bet buffet with Drew Martin. I like Tennessee in this spot. I think I think for Florida, it's a team that I'm not going to be looking to back much this year until they figure out which, from what I understand in some of the detective work I've done, Donnie, I don't think these kids are going to be back anytime soon. From what I understand, this is a fairly serious credit card issue that these kids have done. From what I understand, they've stole another student's student union card and credit card and bought all sorts of things.
That's like Doug Gottlieb type situation going on?
Right. However, it wasn't just one thing. So, this could be something that they're out for an extended period of time. Here's the problem with Florida also. I mean, you have Felipe Franks, who I'm not sure he's the best quarterback on the roster. You also have Malik Zaire, who's just kind of throwing off everything and any momentum you do have. Defensively, you're okay, but you're nowhere near what you've done and been in the last 15 years. And you didn't play last week, Donnie. They didn't play against Northern Colorado. And I know many people will say, who cares? It was Northern Colorado. It doesn't matter. It's a game situation. It's preparation. It's keeping your kids focused on what's going on. You look at the other team they're playing, Tennessee, beat Indiana State. And many will say, who gives a shit, Big Men on Campus? It's Indiana State. But it's a game. It's a game against another team that means something that you can build on. And that's what I like to see. And that's where I think they're kind of behind the 8 ball in this game. Also, I just don't really want to back this football team. I don't think they're very good. And their best offensive players are out. Is it going to be a premium play? No, but it's pretty good play. I like Tennessee tomorrow. I think they may win this game, let alone, though, I'll just take the points. Donnie, they're coming in fast and furious here. A lot of games here. UCLA. We've talked about that game all week, Quentin Lynch. I lean over, but I want to see where that line goes tomorrow morning. So I urge
We're at 3 just about across the board. Me and Pete talked about that again, Jeff. We've talked about it numerous times. 21% of the wagers coming in on Memphis, and that line absolutely stinks because, Jeff, if UCLA, do they think they're a national championship contender? I mean, they want to say that yes and no, but if they take a loss at Memphis, does it even impact anything they're doing? Because basically you're trying to be focused on the Pac-12, see how good you're going to do. If they lose against Memphis, I don't think UCLA is going to win anyway, but
I think a shot at their confidence is going to be tested. Yeah. I think going on the road and losing to Memphis is not a good idea if you're UCLA. Well, clearly it's not a good idea. And I think after that big win against Texas A&M, I got to be honest, I like UCLA in this game. I just think they have better athletes and they're a better team. But we'll get into that tomorrow. I really want to see where this line goes. Because I think tomorrow morning it's going to be critical to see whether Sharps are backing UCLA or back in Memphis, because right now looks like the public's falling in love a little bit with Memphis here because they're watching what they did a couple years ago against Ole Miss or something like that. Thoughts on?
I think it's the opposite though, Jeff. Because only 21% are back in Memphis. So I think the people that crack open the what I'm saying fire up the sports app tomorrow, they're going to be all about UCLA -3. Who's Memphis?
I got to tell you, I think if it's 3 tomorrow, I think most of the people firing up the sports apps are going to take Memphis. I think all we hear about is how good Riley Ferguson is. Truth of the matter is, though, Donnie, they've not had a great start to the season as far as weather. They had trouble with week 1 with rain and wind, didn't play last week. That stuff's concerning for me with a college football team. And if you notice, a lot of the games, there's a couple games this week where I think certain teams have key advantages. You can look, though, and say, well, big man, you just mentioned it's South Florida. You really have to look into the team. You got to look into the moxie of the team. Go find beat reporters. Go find people that are not working for the team, that have no rooting interest, that can give you a keen observation. Thoughts on teasers? We discussed that, Nick, earlier. You must have missed the part. Go back in the show. You can check that out. Notre Dame, BC. I like Notre Dame. I'm going to look over in that football game all year. I'm going to look over Boston College games. I think you're going to be more inclined to see overs this year with that team. Most of the time, they're priced low. The question, though, is can Brandon Wimbush make throws and cover a number like that? I would think he can, but the seat just gets hotter for Brian Kelly, Donnie. TCU, SMU, any insight on that? I want to go over in that game. That's what I'm looking there. I think a lot of people need to remember that SMU is not just a jump over if you're TCU anymore. They used to be that team, Donnie. They used to be the team that would just go to sleep and not wake up and get blown out. But they have Cortland Sutton. Ben Davis is a good quarterback. They can move the football, SMU, Donnie. Have you watched the Mustangs this year?
I've not watched the Mustangs this year, but watched them quite a bit the last 2 years. Yes, I watched. The last game they played last year, that impressive. Didn't they knock off Houston straight up in that one football game?
They did.
Good
And
football
Chad Morris is building something there.
Yes,
And I just want to point this out. Weeks 1 and 2 for SMU, 58 and 54 points. You put up 54 points against, again, two teams that are not great, but I think they can score in this game, and I think TCU won't have any trouble scoring either. Kenny Hill's really had a nice start to the season. Clemson, LSU. Clemson's D's unstoppable. Well, they played Kent State and Auburn, so just remember that. Louisville and Lamar Jackson, a little bit different weaponry there, Donnie. I think Louisville is at home here. I think they're in a good spot on when the game's being played. This is not Death Valley, 8 o'clock Eastern on a Saturday. It's early. It's in Louisville. That crowd's going to be rocking. And Lamar Jackson's a gamer. He gets high for games like that.
Wait, what were you just saying? The time of that game?
I believe, isn't it at 3 o'clock, 3:30?
No, prime time, 8 o'clock.
Okay, is it prime time? Okay, very good. So that's my bad. My apologies.
I'm looking forward to that game, though. I want to watch it because that game can go a few different ways for me. Looking at Clemson, obviously we know how good that defense is. Lamar, I mean, keep in mind, this isn't the same Louisville team of the past maybe year or two where they had a lot more talent out there. It's basically the Lamar Jackson show, but it's still going to be fun to watch to see if he can take on that super athletic Clemson defense and see what he can do. Because you saw last year, Jeff, they had a high-profile game. Florida State comes to town, and they shredded Florida State. So it should be fun to watch.
Yeah, it is going to be a fun game to watch. Probably won't be interested in it. If you get 3.5 for Louisville, I would lean that way. I'm just not sure that I think we could be breeding in a little bit too much of Clemson and how good they are after 2 weeks. But we'll see how it goes. It's not going to be a game I'm looking to bet on. Where are we at? Ole Miss -4. Yeah, I've mentioned that. Talked about it earlier on the roundtable. I love Shea Patterson. I'm going to ride the wave until they face good football teams, Donnie. I think Ole Miss would be a really good bet to cover numbers against teams like California and teams like that. When they get into their SEC schedule, they might struggle a little bit through some animosity and through some tough times. But I think right now we want to ride the wave. Donnie, 2 games. 919 yards for Shea Patterson, running the football to a T, throwing the football to a T. Their offense is humming right now. Best pass defense in the country. Cal is off of a game where they give up a lot of passing yards to the Weber State Wildcats, Donnie. I know one thing you can say. You're not seeing Weber State play, but that's not good, is it? Giving up that many passing yards to Weber State. Do you think Purdue will cover against Army? Or do you think Purdue will cover against Missouri? Look, they've done a great job so far, Jeff Brom, in that group. I don't understand the 2 quarterback thing. I don't get that. Make David Blau your quarterback. He's your guy. But they've done it all without Markel Jones, Donnie, which is pretty impressive. I don't think Missouri's good at all. I think they're a dreadful defensive team. They just got rid of their defensive coordinator. I think that's one of those games, Donnie, where I wouldn't be surprised to see the Boilermakers win that game outright. I think Missouri's overrated. I don't like them. I think defensively they struggle, and I'm not a big fan of them offensively. Barry Odom's another guy that has to think about what his future might entail. Does Army cover against
Missouri's in trouble. I mean, the only thing they have going for them probably is going to be their basketball team, but that university as a whole, if you read any of the press clippings there, I mean, enrollment is down enormously there. Missouri's in a tough spot right now all across the board. Yeah. They better hope they have a sensational basketball season here.
And a lot of it has to do with off the field problems. I mean, they've had some bad things go on there that shouldn't go on at a college campus, and
it hurts. Regardless of anything you believe, if you thought it was right, if you thought it was wrong, it's never good to have controversy because every other school, what are they doing against you? You don't want to go to Missouri, man. You see what's going on there? It doesn't even matter which way you even believe. Just that's a really, really toxic environment right now for them.
I will say this though, and I'm just making this clear. Conzo Martin was a fantastic hire. That is a great hire for this program. He's from the area, and you look at what he's done in recruiting. I mean, bringing the Porter brothers there is. I'm so pumped up for SEC basketball this year. I can't wait. Army +30 against OSU. Yeah, I think on paper, I think a lot of people want to back the midshipmen here, and we all know I love the military schools. But the one thing Ohio State's done pretty well right now is stop the run. Army's not going to do anything they haven't seen before, but it is a lot of points. You're backing a team off of a loss. I'm one to think at home OSU has a big day here.
Black Knights, baby, coming to town.
I'm not betting on it. I'm staying away from it, but I want to think that Ohio State will cover. But I think this is a correlation. Donnie, do you have the odds in front of you
For which game?
for this game, like total
Army
odds?
game. Let's see what we got here.
I forget what the total is here. I can try to get it quickly here, but I might not be as quick as you.
Army Ohio State over under is 51. Actually opened at 51, Jeff, 53 across the board.
Yeah, that's tempting. I get a feeling this is a lot of Ohio State, not a lot of Army. But because Army,
it's a real. I love it, Jeff. I mean, you're looking at Army, Ohio State, and then you flip it over with Michigan and Air Force. Interesting because again, these aren't pushover schools anymore, and we've seen Navy, even when Navy was just on the come up, knocking off Notre Dame. Do you think they have a chance of going into Ohio State and beating them? No. But this is the time you actually want to get after Ohio State. They're questioning themselves. Do we have an offense? Has Urban Meyer lost it? 30 points, man.
Yeah, it isn't exactly
5 touchdowns. You got to beat them by.
Yeah, it's not exactly a number you want to lay right now with the Buckeyes. Yeah, I hear you. I'm avoiding this one. I don't have opinion.
I'm rooting because I can't wait to watch it.
Because here's what will happen with Army. They can be that team that will, even if they're not scoring, they're keeping the ball out of the other team's hands. So that's effective, but there's not a lot of wiggle room for a 30-point number here, because if Army's down, 23 late, they're just going to sit on the ball and try to not get blown out. So, overall, I don't have much of a feel for it. Delaware State, West Virginia.
What's like a 60-point line? What is that?
I think it's in the high 30s or 40s, I believe. Most of the added games aren't out yet unless you use 5 dimes. So I haven't looked at them yet. But as many know, I do get involved with those, so I will look at them. One game that I do want to discuss in the added games, Morgan State visiting Rutgers. Morgan State has not scored yet. They're going on the road to play Rutgers in Piscataway. One thing we've saw from Rutgers are pretty decent offensive side. Jerry Kill, their defensive group's pretty good. Morgan State will be shut out again, if you ask me. Rutgers might show out in that one. Donnie, it's been a long time since Rutgers won a game by a lot of points, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it feels like it's been. Yeah. I think they might take out their frustrations tomorrow on the Bears of Morgan State.
Actually, last year versus Howard, Jeff, I'm showing a 52-14. They were the good old days for Rutgers.
That's right.
Huh?
They did pull out Howard. Good point. That's kind of describes how bad Howard was. They lost 52-14 to Rutgers.
Yep.
So that just goes to show you how bad Howard was. But let's do one or two more, and then we'll wrap it up here, Donnie. We're getting to the end of the show. Old Dominion is an upset, says Udon Ratanafakti. Can't disagree with you. The problem I have with the Dominion boys are, and Donnie, I want to shout out our friend Harry Minium. Harry Minium, a great beat reporter.
Yes, he does follow him. I absolutely have him. I've followed him for years.
I actually was DMing with him. I told him that he's a great beat reporter. Really enjoy.
You sending nudes back and forth, Jeff? Come on.
No, I just like to thank the beat reporters for doing what they do. They're good. They don't get a lot of credit.
I do it all the time.
They do a nice job. In this game, I'm leaning Old Dominion as well. I think this is a game they can win. The problem I have with them right now is offensively, they just haven't looked that good. I thought we'd see a lot more out of them last week against UMass, but this UNC team is bad. I said it. I told you they're going to be bad this year. And I think this is a game where if you're Old Dominion, how big for your confidence would this be, Donnie, to go and beat an ACC team? Even though it's UNC and they're losing a lot and they've lost a lot, their defense is bad. I like Old Dominion here with the points. I think it's a good play. I'm just concerned that they can't move the ball. They've struggled. Blake LaRousse has really struggled, but get Ray Lowry, Jeremy Cox involved.
Healthy. Lowry healthy this weekend, so at least you get that 1-2 punch back involved. But you're right. You want to talk about a fan base that not many people, and you wouldn't say, hey, Old Dominion, very passionate fan base, continually sells out their place. If you want to equate it similar to something that goes on at App State, it's a lively environment. You know they're going to be amped up for this football game. It's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, it is. And, they're a really good fan base there. By the way, West Virginia is a 56-point favorite. 56 a little high. But I will say this. Delaware State lost last year. They actually had the mercy rule in effect, and I actually ended up losing. They were up 74-0 against Delaware State, and they called the game off, and I didn't cash. I had the minus 51, I think.
When you have a game like that, Jeff, even though anybody should be able to score, wouldn't you just look at taking the first half? And because you can see a lot of the times, Jeff, you see right off the bat. I mean, 13-12 on the clock, 7-0, 11-20 on the clock, 14-0, where they just pummel them and just let, fourth string and the walk-ons play.
And it just sucks because, like, you very rarely see a game sped up or cut down because of the mercy rule. But those are tough because, I'm up 74-0. They're not going to score. I mean, it's a winner for me. But, yeah, it happens. 56, I mean, would I be surprised if WVU covers that? No, but I'm not really looking to do that because it wouldn't surprise me if Delaware State scored in this game. West Virginia is not that good of a defense. But, yeah, 56, I'm not looking to do that with West Virginia. Not saying they won't cover it, but for me, I need a better defensive team to do that. Can't wait for Ohio Bobcats versus Kansas. Love Ohio. Hear your thoughts. I know you can't wait for this game. Yeah, I don't really get why. Look at last week with Kansas, Donnie. I mean, they were a 5-point favorite. Look at the number this week. They're an underdog. That's what they should be. They shouldn't be a favorite to anyone. I'm sorry. Kansas is bad. The only team they should be a favorite to is an FCS opponent or like UTEP or something. To a MAC team who's decent, no. And in this game, Ohio, Donnie, I mean, we could keep talking about how good they are and we like them, but they just always seem to let us down, don't they? They seem to let me down a lot. Ohio. I thought we'd see a way better performance out of this crew last week.
An over-under in that game, Jeff. I mean, you're still looking at Ohio, which we know watching them play. I mean, everybody in the MAC runs a spread offense, but they're more of the conservative spread offense, pound the running backs, move the football down the field. And Kansas isn't a high-flying team by any stretch. You're looking at that number around 58, 58.5, depending where you're getting it at. How about that? Any ideas on that one?
Yeah, I think my concern for that would be I just feel like Kansas is dreadful defensively. So I don't know. I feel like they might give up a lot of points in this game. It's a tough line for me. I mean, as an underdog, if Kansas was or if I was a 2-point favorite here, I'd be interested. But I gotta cover by double digits here.
Yeah,
not in love with it. I'm gonna pass. But I will be interested to see how Ohio plays here because I want to see a good performance out of this group. It's just been far too long. Every time I back them, they seem to not go well. One more. Will Tulane cover 34? Yes, I think they will. I really do. I think
everybody's hot button game in that one, Jeff.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a good spot for Tulane. Will I be betting it? No, but I think off a big win for Oklahoma, I think Tulane's a good team to cover this kind of number. I think this number
with Banks out though, Jeff. Like I know Tulane's not high flying. I love the program. I love their offense. I know they still were able to move the football, but it was Navy. You're going a little bit out of your league, which probably Oklahoma is going to get that early lead. Can they stay and hang around? Are they still going to run their offense? Come third and fourth quarter. That's the question I would have.
I think the good thing about the Tulane offense is it's another offense that's going to hold on to the football. Kind of reminds you of Army in the way they play. They're both getting big numbers here. I think this line should be like 27.5 as opposed to 34. I think this is just too many points. And I liken it to I don't think Tulane will not score here. Their backup can move the ball. He's not totally inept. He had some good performance last year. Last week, Brantley, he was able to get some big gains. I think they'll take the foot off the gas, Oklahoma. Their Big 12 schedule's coming up next.
Who they got? Any look ahead? Maybe chance on that? Who they have next week?
I'm gonna check that right now. I don't remember offhand, but it is their third game. They got Baylor at Baylor coming up. So again, a road game against a team that is clearly struggling, but still, it's the rigors of the schedule coming up. I just don't think Tulane is a team that 3 years ago I'd bet against them, but I just think this line's a little too high. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and say they cover. But am I as high on it as Ian Cameron? No. As far as I'm not really sure that abduction. It looks like that phone number is European, so I'm not sure how that's relevant to us. I'm not sure we can help you there.
I think Liam Neeson's already on that case, by the way, so they're already on it.
Yes, but hey, if it is true, my heart goes out to her. I hope they find her, but I'm not sure how this, whatever. Good luck. There's a lot of scams on YouTube, so you never really know if it's legitimate or not. All right, Donnie, that's going to be it for tonight. A wild show. A lot of interesting comments here and great college football talk. It's a football Friday here, Donnie. I just want to set the record on what we're doing this weekend.
Yes.
I know you have the closing line tonight.
Jeff will be on the closing line with me tonight. We'll go over some Major League Baseball. We'll hit up some NCAA football, look ahead to the NFL card. But again, Jeff, go ahead. Talk about what you got on Saturday going on.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 5 games tonight. Right, Donnie? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, 5-pack. Jeff's 5-pack, Friday 5-pack.
If I didn't get to your game here on the show, DM me the games you want me to pick, and I'll take 5 of them, give them to Donnie, and we'll go over them tonight on the show. So there you go.
And we won't go over Coastal Carolina. So go ahead.
No, any game. I don't care what. If you want to talk about, you want to talk about FCS game, I'll break it down. If there's a line for it, I'll break it down. So send them to me on my DM. We'll get them to Donnie, and we'll go over them tonight. Also, I'm going to be on with Gabe Morency tonight as well, talking boxing, Canelo, Triple G, all sorts of fun stuff. We'll be back tomorrow as well with Loshak. And Donnie has a big Sunday set up for NFL. Donnie, what do you got going on?
Now, Sunday's going to be a lot of fun. If you liked it last week, check us out again. 12 to 1 o'clock, me and Gabe will bring the closing line NFL edition. We'll come in at the halftime of the 1 o'clock games. Also, Jeff and I had a very good show. Nobody even really knew we were going on. Had a lot of listeners. We'll set up the Sunday night game as usual. And then just after that as well, Betcast with Jeff and Gabe going to carry you through the Sunday night game. So we got you covered all weekend long here at SBR. So support the channel. Give us a like on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Let's have a lot of fun. Let's win a lot of money this weekend.
And I'm telling you, join us for that Sunday night show that we do. We hit the Cowboy game last week.
Yep. Me and Jeff gave that out. Stone cold. Didn't even matter. 3, 4, 4.5, 5. Hey, Don, if you like it at 6, I said they win by a touchdown. It was some good profit on that game for us. Yes.
Easy winner, buddy. Yeah. All right, we'll be back tonight, 6 o'clock p.m., live on SBR. Join us then where we continue our descent into the weekend.